Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word. We're continuing our journey through the book of Jonah. Today, we're going to be chapter 1, verses 6. We're starting out, and we're just doing it kind of verse by verse, one verse at a time. But I guarantee you, we're going to be speeding up along here as we get going through here, Jonah. But these first verses are loaded with a lot of stuff in it, and so I wanted to focus on those things. So Jonah 1:6 says this: "The captain went to him and said, 'How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take notice of us so that we will not perish.'" Let's put this in context here. Jonah has been called by God. We've talked about that already. He's called to go to Nineveh. We talked about Nineveh already, and he decides he's not going to go to Nineveh and is going to go as far away as possible away from Nineveh. And so he gets on a ship, and he's traveling away. And we talked about yesterday how God sent a storm, okay? And that was a warning to Jonah. God sent it, but Jonah was sleeping through the storm. And we talked about how if God sends us a warning, we shouldn't be sleeping through it, but that's what Jonah did. So, it says that, how can you sleep? The captain said, "Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take notice of us so that we will not perish." If you ever need a Bible, well, call on me and I'll get you a Bible, but a lot of good Bibles can be had at the Goodwill bookstore. I mean, they're like $3 or $4 or whatever for a Bible. And I just got my daughter, she was like, I don't have a good Bible. I went there and got her a study Bible, NIV study Bible, the other day for $4. It was like in perfect condition. So they're used, but they're in really good condition. So, and then I was looking for a Living Bible because I, for some reason, don't have a Living Bible around here. And I picked up this one, and it is a Living and a King James parallel Bible. How can you beat that? So anyway, I didn't have much of the King James or the Living laying around, so I got one that is parallel. But when you read the King James, it says, "So the shipmaster came to him and said unto him, 'What meanest thou?'" Now, no one talks like that. That's why I don't use the King James much. But he said, "What meanest thou, O sleeper? Arise, call upon thy God." So he is saying, he calls Jonah, "Oh sleeper, arise, get up." In the Living Bible, it says, "So the captain went down after him." "What do you mean," he roared, "sleeping at a time like this? Get up and cry out to your God and see if he will have mercy on us and save us." So Jonah is asked by the captain of this ship to call on his God, okay? It's ironic that the pagan ship captain, okay, had to call on a man of God to pray, okay? Jonah was trying to ignore God so much that he went down and slept. And instead of saying, "Oh, maybe I should pray and to stop this storm," the captain has to wake him up first. Then after he wakes him up, he has to ask him to pray, okay? That should be like, we as Christians, that should be one of our first responses, to offer to pray. But it wasn't for Jonah. And this will happen to us sometimes. We have pagan friends that call on us to pray for them in desperate situations. And selfishly and ignorantly, we lack to offer to pray for them at first, okay? So there's been different times where people have said, they've either called me up or they texted me. I'd had one today an email, we were just conversing back and forth, and she said, pray for my father. And I was like, why didn't I pray for that, first? And a lot of times, we as Christians, we have that tool, and it's a very powerful tool, okay? It's not having a little hacksaw, it's having a power saw, that'll rip through anything. So we have that tool in our tool belt, and we're not using it. And we're not offering it to people either, People are struggling to, cut down this tree with their little, pocket knife. And they say, "Oh, would you help us, And they have to ask us, for our chainsaw to rip that tree down to shreds, okay? We need to be, as Christians, ready to jump in and offer to pray for people. So that's the big thing out of verse 6. Jump in and offer to pray for people. Don't wait for them to to ask you. And I guarantee you, in a lot of situations, when you say, hey, can I, it's a difficult situation. And I guarantee you, when you get in those situations and you ask to pray for them, hey, can I pray for you? They'd be like, oh yeah, you betcha. So this is just a far out example, but when I've done the last place finisher in different races, and that person is suffering to finish the race, okay? And, we're walking along, and I say, hey, can I pray for you? They're like, oh, yeah, please do. There's no, oh, no, I don't want to do that. They're like, yes, please pray. And that's what's happening in Jonah here. That captain he's a pagan captain, but he's telling Jonah, please pray so that we can have our lives spared. So, pray for others. Offer to pray for others. That's the bottom line. All right, thanks for watching. I'm just a regular dude walking the word. We will continue our journey through the book of Jonah tomorrow. We'll see you then. Blessings.